Come on, what's going on in here, man?
My husband turned the air conditioning off, I think. It was too cold. It was too cold on a Monday. Magical Monday. I see us. What are you seeing on your side?
Are we live?
Yes, I'm seeing us live. I know it's kind of a delayed reaction that happens on these things. So my apologies to everybody that's here. You know how technology is. Sometimes it's just on time, but I always tell people it's just on time all the time.
Apologies for being 10 minutes late. We had technical difficulties and that is what it is, right?
Yes, it is. But guess what? We're here. And you know what? Usually what I say when someone's late, they're not really late. They're on time. Basically the time that they're supposed to be here. So, oh my goodness. So here I am again on this amazing Monday. And I'm hoping all of you had a great weekend. You are, sitting, you got a pen and paper, you have, maybe a little snack or your lunch. I'm not sure if you have your coffee. I see Pierre has his. I have some water here, and you're ready to just take in all the information that he's going to share with us. First of all, my name is Tammy Williams. I'm one of the executives with Gallant for Success, which is a platform that brings people and business together. We're all about helping each other get to the next level in their business. And we have a number of areas and different ways people can actually participate in our platform. But never mind about the platform right now. Today is to spotlight one of our members who has also been a gifting sponsor. This gentleman has so many accolades, has such a big heart, and the knowledge that he has, honestly, you can't even put a price on it. He is Mr. Pierre Jean Gallant. He has an MBA, an FICB, SME, CSC, IFC. He's the Chief Executive Officer, with Market to Market, CEO. I prefer that instead of the whole Chief Executive Officer. But let me say it properly, that who you are, Mr. Gallant, to so many people is a resource. You're a light in the space of business where people don't know where to go. I know that you have helped entrepreneurs, aspiring entrepreneurs, business owners, whether they had the brick and mortar store or even online. And I'm just so privileged that I get a chance to get up close and personal with you in this platform. This is our series number 2. We have 3 more that you are giving away free information to help everyone globally. It's not a local thing. This is globally. So enough about what I'm talking about here. I know that you guys only want to hear from Mr. Gallant. So can you please get right into our second series, because I have been waiting anxiously on what is going to take place today. And we have a half an hour. I'm looking at the time right now, 12:15. So we're going to go till 1:15 because we had some delay, and I'm going to do our best. I will actually keep us on time.
Perfect. Thank you so much, Tammy, and thank you for those great accolades, and thank you to Landed for Success for hosting this. And it's a great opportunity. So I invite you to come to Landed for Success. They have networking events online every month. So keep your agenda open, check out the times, and please join us at the next event. So right now I'll be sharing with you. Tammy, can you confirm that we can see the screen?
Yes, I can see it perfectly.
Perfect. Okay, so I'm gonna hide this floating meeting controls, and we should get going. So today we're going to be talking about one of the foundation areas of having a company. So it's the tone of the top. So the tone of the top is not only for compliance, because in the past it's been known as related to internal fraud, etc. But the tone of the top is really what We'll help you implement your values, your strategic plan, how you're going to be managing your staff and the relationship with your suppliers, with your clients. So we'll just get on and head to, it's by the way, Tammy, I know you said market to market. I'm also CEO of Complete CU Services, which this will be a presentation that's mostly related to Complete CU Services. So Complete CU Services, one-stop shop for business solutions. And our motto is to get you guys, give you success and profitability in your businesses. The content in this presentation is protected under Canadian Intellectual Property Copyright Act, registration 1168-379, exception of stock images and photos, as well as definitions of leadership credited to Bruna Martinuzuni. Presentation skills training, author, columnist, business trends and insight, Clarion Enterprises. So any questions that you have related to Complete CU Services and to this presentation, here are our coordinates, and I'll display them again at the end of this presentation. So let's get cooking. Who are we? Well, I kind of described that. We've been around for 6 years now. We have a lot of experience in different types of industries, and our team of professionals have over 30 years in financial service industry, as well as other types of industries and business. So today, tone at the top, not only about compliance. So tone at the top, establishing a balance between your personal values and entrepreneurship and your company values, the relationship with your suppliers and your clients, and implement values in your strategic plan, HR staffing, and getting a good balance, influencing your staff and place in your network. So basically, as we see in this this slide here, everything that's the tone of the top is going to influence your sales, going to influence the atmosphere of working in your company. It's going to be really giving the tone and the pulse of the company. That's why it becomes very important. There's no, I wouldn't say there's a particular way of being a leader, but some of the styles are older, like autocratic is a little bit passe, and you have to figure out who your staff is. So if your staff is in a younger demographic, autocratic may not work because it is kind of a do as I say type of leadership. So most of those leaders, and believe me, in every one, we're going to see 7 different ones. I've done all 7. So at the beginning of my career, didn't have very much experience, but as your staff evolves or as you change teams, you have to adapt to that team. So you have to be an agile leader today. So you have to really adapt to the generation and also to your clients, because if you're doing something like here, autocratic was Bill Gates and Steve Jobs, or Bill Gates presently and before Steve Jobs. But this type of leadership, they believe that they're the smartest person at the table. They know more than the others. They make most decisions. There's no input from the team or their peers. And it's really commanding and being controlled. So this would work more for an older generation, kind of like myself, because, you know, my first boss, I remember I was working in a restaurant and used to swear at me all the time and say, "You're so effing stupid."
Wow.
So
really?
Yeah, but you know, this is like back in the 80s, early 80s. So that was the style back then. I mean, there was one person in charge. You just had to listen, and it was based on fear. So I'm not saying that this type of leadership would work on me today, but perhaps in the past it would have. And maybe there's still a lot of those individuals left, or that type of staff. But again, it doesn't mean that you should not use this. It depends again on your staff. But
from an HR perspective, it's now called bullying.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Originally when I put this slide together, I had put dictator and bullies, but then I thought, you know what? I'll just put autocratic because that's the definition.
Exactly.
But essentially, that's what it is. So again, it could work if you're maybe in a manufacturing type of environment where a lot of your demographic is Gen Xers and baby boomers, but I don't think it would be very popular because of little creativity. So I don't think it would work very well with younger generations, but it's up to you. Authoritative style. So this is more where there's a visionary or leader and people are following the visionary. So it's a leadership style which marks a lot of confidence in the leader. So people are prone to kind of follow this individual. In a climate of uncertainty, these leaders will probably be a good thing to have because they show that they have a lot of confidence and they know where they're going. Again, unlike autocratic leaders, the authoritative leader takes time to explain their thinking, but they're not just issuing orders, but they're still not allowing for a lot of latitude in terms of creativity for employees. But again, it could be depending on your work environment or depending on what your product or service is. It could be like, I mean, if you're a collection agency, maybe, there's different styles and different flavors for everything. Pace setting styles. So this is more do as I do. And one of the things that I always mention in these type of presentations is people have a tendency of acting like parents when they first step into a leadership position. And I did that myself. There's nothing wrong with that. I mean, you're gonna learn if that's the right way to behave in your work environment. But that's something that's common in most leaders. They are treating some of their employees as staff, and this applies mostly to the older generations. So the pace setter style of leadership is like, well, do as I do, not as I say type of thing. But it also demonstrates a lot of confidence in the leader, and it eases a lot of tension because some of the employees just want to follow. So there's different cases. Again, if you're working with a lot of artists, this probably that have a lot of great ideas or a marketing. You don't want to listen to one person because it's one opinion. However, it could be serviced in a lot of different industries.
Well, I have a lot to say about all of these. This is interesting. I hope we get a chance to talk a little bit more.
Yeah, democratic style. So they always seek employees' opinions before approving a final decision. So it's important in this one. So what do you think? They share information with their employees about anything that affects their work responsibilities. Well, I got to tell you, I had pretty much every style of leader, but I had one one of my directors at one point was always asking me, what do you think? What do you think? What do you think? And it was so much, it showed so much insecurity that the person or the boss or the leader wasn't able to take a decision. So you can't go too far and say, what do you think? You have to, engage in a discussion and say, well, oh, if you think that, yeah, what's the reason why you would believe that? And then you got to have a discussion about it, but not just take the employees or the staff members' decision on what do you think, because it can also show that you can't take decisions, and then employees and staff will lose confidence in your leader. And that happened to me with that particular director. And it also happened to the rest of the staff. They were like, they had no respect for him because he wasn't able to take a decision. So it has to be good balance in that type of leadership. Coaching style. This is, kind of a good and more modern way of teaching is kind of, or being a leader. Leader who uses a coaching approach, kind of like is digging down to the person, showing the main standards or the main requirements, and then allowing the staff members to kind of, get it done within the staff's abilities. So it's kind of an interesting one, because it also helps with, it's kind of a delegation task. Mm-hmm. Show, okay, this is the way you do it, but if you get the same result at the end, that's fine, right? So that sometimes empowers staff, gives people a little direction to help them tap into their ability to achieve all that they're capable of. So it's a nice, it works in a very good environment as well. Affiliative style. So this is really where staff comes first. It's about, I was in one working environment where I had a staff members, and this was very important because there was a lot of conflicts within the team. Actually, it happened to me twice, where there's a lot of conflict between employees. So I had to, manage the individuals that were, suffering a little bit because of the others. So they were kind of being bullied a little bit. There was cliques. And then on the other hand, you had to kind of tame them and then get to the individuals that were kind of low and felt emotionally depressed, and kind of bring them back to show that they were capable of doing it, and kind of, put the mix together. So this is trying to, it depends obviously, but if you have a team that's already in this type of environment, it's easier to continue, but you can't get into too much, like, I guess, personal things. You got to keep some sort of distance or keep a high level view of things. It's useful in smoothing conflicts, as it says at the bottom, among team members, reassuring them during times of stress. So basically, every time that I had this type of thing, I would take the staff members outside of the work environment, and we do team building exercises. Okay. One of them that was really successful was we'd go to a restaurant, or I would rent a hall or something, and we say, okay, say something nice about the person next to you. And you would make sure that these people, say something positive about the colleague to your left and colleague to your right. So then, even though those people didn't necessarily like each other, they would find out something else, and So it kind of, it's delicate, but it's a way to resolve conflict. The laissez-faire style, so that's more like you just let people kind of do what they need to do. This is really productive, like in the atmosphere, or those IT companies that just as long as you do the work, it works for us, and there's no significant leader. But if you're in a again, it could appear aloof. It could be appear that it could cause mayhem depending on the type of employees that you have.
Yeah.
So if you let a whole bunch of leaders together that all have a different idea, and then they all want to do different things, and that happens a lot. See, the issue is with leadership styles is that you can have a leadership style that'll accommodate 3 of your 10 employees. So you have to make sure that you're so agile that you're able to manage the different styles. So as an example, I would probably be a little bit more autocratic to an older generation staff member. And the reason why is because if I say, okay, laissez-faire, that individual will be like, this guy doesn't know, this guy's not a boss, right? So you have to be careful. It's really, really important that you have a good pulse on who your team is. And there's going to be different types, different cultures. So you have to be really good at analyzing who your team is. So choosing leadership styles is knowing which leadership styles works best for you and what is being part of a good leader. So developing a signature style, like I said, I've used different methods and sometimes a mix of those methods, but it's really important that you take those decisions either before you get into a business model, or that you take over a certain department in a business, or even if you have, you've been there for a long time, this can always be very valuable to you because you have no idea how some people are miserable, and you can increase productivity if you can get in their, on their side and try to expand or treat them the way that they would like to be treated. So start raising awareness of your type of leadership style, and then you can, they say, like they advise that you can ask your colleagues. I don't like that approach because when you start asking colleagues, how do you think I do this?
Yes.
It doesn't really show a lot of confidence in the person, but try to take a step back. If you really don't know, I would suggest that you go and take some leadership assessment tests, and it'll give you a good pulse on what type of leadership you're exercising at this present time, and what direction you should go and modify it. So understand and get the different styles. Practice makes a leader. So be genuine with any approach, because if you're trying to be somebody else that you're not, let's say that you're trying to be a democratic leader and you're not, it's going to show and it's not going to work in your favor. So it's better to keep to your style if it's totally unnatural for you to use a different approach. Practice the new behaviors until they become natural. So if you're an autocratic and you want to become more agile in one of those or several of those different types of leadership, make sure you practice at home, practice with your friends, practice and it'll become a part of you, because honestly, you are pretty much the way you are at home, the same way that you're at work, or at least you're going to bring that into any type of area in your life. So traditional leadership styles are still relevant in today's workplace, but they may need to be combined with different approaches to the 21st century. Again, like, if you're producing a certain product and it's always been that way, it doesn't mean you don't need to change, because I'll tell you, today and tomorrow is a different world. It changes on a dime. And what I find the most important is that as the demographic is changing, the Generation Zs that are in their early 20s right now are entering the job market. And if you're stuck in a old way of leading staff, you're going to have a hard time. You're really not going to be able to. You're not going to be able to keep these. These are great assets to your company. You need that. You need to have a mix of generations. And if you're a sole proprietor, ask your kids. My kids, I mean, they're not part of my business, but they keep me real. They really give me, they say, Dad, that's inappropriate what you're saying. And I have to step back and I go, yeah, you know what? I'm just stuck in my own generation, and it was appropriate back then to say certain things, but today it's not. So I have to evolve. If I don't evolve, I become a dinosaur, and I can't compete in the business. Even though my product is amazing, it's not about the product. It's not about the product.
Yeah. Like
Amazon right now, can you imagine if they had a whole bunch of, I'm going to point myself out, if they had a whole bunch of 50-year-olds leading that company, we wouldn't be anywhere today. It's like, it had to be very agile. It had to respond to certain things. It had to be, adaptable, agile. So this is
sorry to say that, but everything that you're talking about, the different leadership styles, it really actually, it's much more, there's so many more layers to it, right? Because you said something about the employees and the people that they're working with. So you also have to know the employees and the different things that you can actually do to find out who you have on your staff. But from an HR perspective, when you're doing the hiring, whether you work for the company as a HR recruiter or even using a staffing company, the way the world is now and how business is now, it makes it even more difficult to find the right individual to work in a company, because things are moving so quickly and the stability in a job is not really there. We used to have all kinds of assessment tools, graphology. We used to use different handwriting tools, different personality tests, open-ended questions to actually help us to find out who would be the best fit, at a certain company, and even go deeper to the environments that they were going to be working in, as well as taking a temperature, if you'd say, of the individual that they'd be teaming up with to see what their personalities were, and would the individuals who look great on paper, who could definitely do the job, would they fit? And something you said here is not about the product. And when you're looking for staff, I think people get caught up with just hiring people almost to the point of just having a body almost.
Exactly.
They're forgetting.
Right.
Yeah, they're forgetting that it's not just the body and they look great on paper, but how do they think? How do they react? How do they respond? Are they a team player? And there's so many more layers to that. And so that's being lost because everything's happening so quickly. I mean, you got people that have been at companies laid off multiple times, and they have to just take that job. The environment's not great for them. They don't like the location. They don't like the person they're reporting to you. And they're not even actually excelling in that space because it's not the right environment for them. So there's so many layers. Are companies actually taking your wise counsel to look and examine themselves in their leadership style? That's the question I have.
It's a great question. It's very, very hard. So most of my clients are financial institutions. So
And they have
there's
a way of doing their own business.
yeah, and the issue,
I
well,
came
the
across
issue,
them a lot
I'll
of
tell you
times.
exactly what the issue is, that a lot of this, like the governance models and stuff like that, this is what we prone, right?
Yeah.
This is the only way to survive today. Unfortunately, it's like everybody's resistant to change. So
Yes.
I can give them, and I can coach them, and I can bring them to another. I can try to, I plant seeds is basically what I do.
Yes.
But a lot of it is like, well, you know what? You've always done it like this before. You've always done it this way, and then they say, well, if you do it this way, and that works for processes too. A lot of them say, oh, we've always done it this way, PJ. Well, why are you doing it this way? It's a waste of time. You don't need that. You can cut that part of that process out, and you're going to make more money. You're going to be more agile, et cetera, et cetera. I can tell some companies, hey, you know what? Here's how you save $100,000 a year in expense.
Exactly.
And they will, oh, that's nice, and that's nice. And you know what? They're all on board, but then once they try to apply it, other things, cut into the space. So it's a hit and miss. I get very good results when the companies actually implement it, and then we do a follow up and make sure that everything is happening. But what typically happens is that there's a couple of leaders in there that'll say, too many leaders, too many chiefs, and you know what? And I'll be quite honest, when I was working for financial institutions as an employee, I was probably a nightmare. But
but now you're a dream.
Yes, but there are some of my bosses that recognize my passion and my creativity. And those bosses, one of them, was my partner who just retired, but would always say, okay, that's a good idea. You're bang on. I like that. Encourage me. I would work like 100 hours a week if I could to just hear those compliments. Yeah. So if you can drive some, and not to exploit them, but if you have somebody who's very, I think I was talking to Erica the other day, and I recognized myself. She says, those type of people that put their hand up in a classroom setting, if you're getting some training right away before, the person's not actually listening to what the teacher says or the trainer. And I'm that type of person. I disregard everything, and it's not good. It's not good. But I'll put up my hand. I'll use an example. So, those type of individuals are hard to manage. But if you can satisfy their creativity and their ideas, they can bring you anywhere.
Wow. So
this year, sorry. Go ahead.
We could talk about this for a very long time. There's a lot of layers to this. Let me take a look at what the time is, because I have to be sensitive of that. We're at our time. How many more slides are there? Because we should finish up.
Not many. I just wanted to show.
Not many, meaning how many? 2, 3?
About 3, yeah. 3
okay,
or 4.
So right now we're at 10 to 1 here.
Okay. I'll just go through these very, very quickly. This is a model that we're developing for market to market. So in terms of what we want to do, so this is also important when you're establishing your values. We're going to be contributing to schools and trying to change the younger generation. So we want to contribute to helping reducing racism and culture differences in schools. And we're doing that through different types of things, also contributing to women, men, LGBTQ. This is all things that we're working on with market to market. once we start getting up and running.
Yes.
Workforce reforms, etc., in terms of helping the younger people that are in school today and to bring them to a better ideology than we have.
Nice.
So I'll just go a little bit the type of hiring principles that we're establishing is practice what we preach. So interviews are conducted by 3 employees at different levels of the organization. So it's not me who's going to be taking a decision. I want my staff, my team to be comfortable in hiring an individual, because every individual is important at every level of every organization.
Yes.
Make sure that they have the same values as our company. So if they're off the map on a few things, we're not interested. It's really about, if you have certain very strong opinions against diversity, then we're not going to hire you.
Mm-hmm.
It's not part of what we want to have.
Yeah.
Our type of organizational chart. So we flatline everything. So executives report to me, but staff also reports to me. Every staff member reports to an executive. So I don't want 35 people in line to bring an idea. Everybody's idea or perception is important. So this is really an agile type of org chart where you have a lot of success in terms of being transparent at every level. And if I've made a mistake, or if my colleague has made a mistake, we admit it. And the reason that's important is as an employee, I was working for a financial institution, and it was very refreshing when I heard the CEO of a huge financial institution say, you know what, we made a mistake. We went in different directions. Had this project. We made a mistake, and we have to start over, and we apologize.
Nice.
A CEO who's able to accept that they've made a mistake, because nobody's perfect, will translate in a huge respect from those people's teams and their staff.
Yeah. So
we're not just successful, we're just always thinking outside of the box. Superior education is a business, so don't think about it, just do it. Disruption is comfortable and keeps you young. Are your personal values fair and respectful to everyone? Continuously revise your values and always question what society makes you believe. Education is one thing, as I mentioned, but you maybe you don't want somebody who has certain boundaries. People that are out of high school, or that they have different skills, interpersonal skills, are much more valuable than individuals that were formed and dictated certain things in university, or go. I don't want to get anybody upset, but yeah. I'm just speaking the truth. Yeah. For us, by 2024, we want to share 65% of our net profits that are reinvested so that we can increase the dollar amount of our donations, and 35% of all our net profits are donated because it's not our money, so we want to share it with this world. So again, if you have any questions related to this, please direct them on our website with a brief description, and we'll get back to you by email, or just send an email to info@completecuservices.com.
It's amazing. The content that you shared the first session and now this one, there's probably like about 100 different series that can come from each one. So make sure that everyone knows that, this is like a little bit of an overview, a glossary, if you will, of everything that his company is doing. And it does require expanded conversation. It does require an interest on your part to be a part of the solution so that you can actually really be profitable. This is what this is all about. And looking at all the layers. I mean, I mean, there's so many different things. Sometimes the person that's the hiring manager shouldn't be the hiring manager. And that's, I know we're going to talk about later on in another series of yours, but I'm just so happy that you shared with me. You and I can talk forever about this because this subject really, really hits home to businesses in their profitability, how long they can keep their employees, and how to get the best out of their employees so they become productive.
And one of the things, Tammy, and I know you know this because I know
Wow.
you have a lot of experience in this, but a lot of the people that apply this type of strategies,
Yes.
employees are not paid better. They just want, and that's the millennials as well. Millennials just want to enjoy their work.
Yes.
And that is key. Like every company I've left is because I was unhappy at some point,
Yeah.
right? And that's what you're going to do. Yeah, some of it is for the money a little bit, but mainly I want to be happy.
Yes.
I'm spending a lot of time there, and that's what the millennials. That's their kind of their strategy too, and I think that's fantastic because, unfortunately, like I told you originally, but I've had so many bosses who used to intimidate me, make fun of me. It was really bad. It was unacceptable today, but it was around, and but today, maybe that's part of the reason why I left.
Yeah.
But it's important to cherish. The biggest asset of any company is your staff. That's all it is. That's all it is.
And, even leading into that, as you're talking about that, there's really nothing new under the sun because from a recruitment standpoint, where I used to get paid in recruiting the right staff for the right companies, we used to have individuals who would be given several offers and we present the offers. And based on how they felt when they were there for their interviews, and there was multiple interviews, they didn't always choose the biggest compensation plan. And we had people that would sometimes accept the higher compensation plan only to come back within 30 days and say they made a mistake. They like to see if the other opportunity that we presented them was still available with the money, and you and I have so many similarities. Think about me being a Black woman in a corporate world in positions where they don't usually see Black people.
Absolutely.
I had my own issues that I had to deal with individuals who now I was supervising them and they didn't look like me, right? So think about the things that I had to deal with in that space, different conversations and things like that. So nothing really is different. I'd like to think that myself now being entrepreneur, it's a much better place for me because now I can pick and choose who I want to work with, as opposed to just staying where I need to be because I had to provide for my family. I still have to provide for my family, but now I can be a lot more selective in that. And I think you and I can probably relate to so many different things about being made fun of and not being taken seriously. And who do you think you are? Because you have so much knowledge. You're a wealth of knowledge. You must have had all that too. So I can't wait. What's the next topic that we're going to cover?
Marketing your market. So, we're looking at what's the name of your business. If you have a business that doesn't have anything to do with the service that you have or that you're offering, it's a dangerous thing. Continuous strength, weaknesses, opportunities, and threats. So the SWOT analysis of what you're doing in your market, but you got to do it not only the first time you open your business, but you got to do it all the time. Make sure that you're always in the market. If I have a business plan that was pre-pandemic, it doesn't make any sense today.
Oh my goodness.
What is your competitive advantage, and is it still relevant? And the thing is that we're going to be looking at, but also thinking about is, if you got a great product, tomorrow it could be, it's not worth anything, right? So you always have to make sure, is my product still relevant?
Yes.
Because unfortunately, a lot of people, and I'm the same way, with my own businesses, I'm sure that my service is the best. and that it will never change. But I know that in 10 years down the line, a lot of what I do is going to be automated. You've got different AIs. So am I going to be relevant in the next 10, 20 years? I need to work until I'm 99 to pay off this mortgage. And the kids'
You will be
education.
relevant. You're relevant to all of
I'm
us.
hoping that my kids won't go to university because I told them, you guys got great ideas. So just open a small business or just open a business and just go for it. It's the best. I have to say, because I worked in corporations for years and years and years, I have to say the best thing that you can do is just start your own business. Like if you believe in it, or if you have, even what you're doing today, if you bring that and you contract yourself out, you're going to enjoy yourself.
Yeah.
You don't get the office politics and this and that.
Yeah.
I mean,
that's great advice.
That's my sales pitch.
That's great advice. So the next seminar, we're looking forward to that. I'll have a lot to talk about in that space as well, because not every great idea is marketable. Exactly. So that also brings someone in to help in that area, because my goodness, there's so many ideas, but then people don't know how to market their idea. So that's another discussion. So thank you very much, everybody, for joining us. And we look forward to seeing you next Monday. Yay. Enjoy the rest of your week. Bye-bye, everybody.
All right. Take care.
Okay. Talk to you later, Mr. Gallant.